We're told we're not taking sides. I'm here to take sides. Mladic is a war criminal, the leader of the Bosnian Serbs. He is no better than Himmler. He is no better than Goebbels. He is a war criminal.
I was suggesting we bomb Belgrade.
What's so important about the Western Alliance? NATO for NATO's sake so we can beat our press? What I'm about to say is going to cause me great difficulty if I'm reelected and come back here as the ranking member or chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee. There is no moral center in Europe.
I was suggesting that we send American pilots in and blow up all the bridges on the Drina.
When in the last 2 centuries have the French, or the British, or the Germans, the Belgians, the Italians?
I was suggesting we take out his oil supplies.
Moved in a way to unify that continent, to stand up to this kind of genocide. When have they done this?
I was suggesting very specific action.
The only reason anything is happening now is because the United States of America finally is understanding her role. The 21st century is going to be the American century. Because we never bow, we never bend, we never break. We are America, second to none, and we own the finish line. Don't forget it.
Shout out to TikTok. Yes, this is my intro. Yes. What's up, Derek? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Yeah, I usually do an intro of Biden giving the speech about intervening into the Bosnian genocide. Real quick, sorry, I need to get my chat up. I apologize. Usually I'm a little bit more on top of things today, but right now I kind of woke up like an hour ago, so you got to give me a bit. You got to give me a minute. But yeah, I love it too. I think that's that really speaks to my patriotism. I won't lie. It really does. All right, let me get you guys the chat up here real quick. Anyways, how are we doing today, guys? Today is the date of April, I believe 11th. Yes, April 11th of 2026. How are we doing today? Let me just real quick check all the sources. All right, let me send a test message real quick, and then we should be ready to go. Maybe not, actually, for some reason. The service is loading, ladies and gentlemen. I use an app called Stream Ninja, and I really enjoy it. It's a good aggregator of all your chats, but it's very code heavy, so give me a moment and we'll get to Minecraft. Anyways, how are those peace negotiations going? I've heard they're not going so great. Unfortunately, big shock, JD Vance is not the guy. He's not that guy, you know what I'm saying? All right. There we go. Everything's looking good. Well, actually, I'm sorry, guys. Usually it doesn't take this long to get ready. My apologies, my apologies. Anyways, how are you guys doing today? I really hope you are doing well. Had an interesting debate last night. Apparently somebody's... There we go, now it's up. Apparently somebody's gonna sue me. Excited for that. Something tells me old B, Babe, and Brian isn't that serious, so... I've heard tankers are moving. Well, that's good, but they were, you know, they were moving before the war. I just think it's so embarrassing for the United States to have essentially just... I mean, even entering talks with those sets of conditions are ridiculous. But I guess we'll see. I guess we'll find out together, actually. Anyways, let me move on to the gaming. It's gaming time, ladies and gentlemen. It's gaming time. Oh, I'm not even in Discord. Look at me. Really behind on the times out here. I do have a Discord, but I don't know if I'm quite ready to unveil it yet. We're slowly gaming up. We're slowly gaining up to be able to announce our Discord. The only issue I really have is the it's a little difficult to moderate and stuff, so I'm hoping that I'll invite some of my mods on today and they'll take a look at it, and we'll finally have a Discord server we can call home that isn't somebody else's. Not that I don't enjoy being in Kalinda's Discord, but I think my community's big enough now that we may need our own congregation. Dude, that caller before Bradley was unhinged. Oh my god, I know. Thinking he was cooking, but he was just bashing two bricks of ice together. Man, he was embarrassed too, because I was really cooking him. He didn't think I would be able to use all those chef metaphors, but in my previous life, I was indeed a cook and a chef, so they're loaded up. They're loaded up. Ooh, we got bombshell news about mass pardons. I don't know how I feel about Platner. I'm gonna be honest, guys. Platner kind of pisses me off because he's how do you have a Nazi tattoo and not know you have a Nazi tattoo? I mean, you could have asked a friend. You could have very well asked a friend, ladies and gentlemen. You could have been like, "Hey, does this look cool?" You're telling me for 18 years he never asked if his tattoo looked cool? I'm going to press X to doubt. Pardons need regulated? Oh, absolutely. I think there should be a council of people that recommend pardons to Trump, but to the president. So anyways, there is also more big news in terms of the California gubernatorial race. One of the candidates, what's his name? Joseph Swalwell, is accused of SA. And so if I mean, it is rather convenient, right? Right before an election, these come out. But these should be pretty easy to verify, especially if the accuser has texts and information. But I guess we will see. We will see. Let's watch this Forbes piece real quick, guys. Let's watch it. By the way, we are playing Minecraft. You already know. You already know, guys.
A lot has been said about me today through anonymous.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Hold on now. Yeah, tell us about how it's all fake real quick.
A lot has been said about me today through anonymous allegations. I thought it was important that you see and hear from me directly. These allegations of sexual assault are flat false. They are absolutely false. They did not happen. They have never happened. And I will fight them with everything that I have. They also come on the eve of an election where I have been the front-runner candidate for governor in California. I do not suggest to you in any way that I'm perfect or that I'm a saint. I have certainly made mistakes.
Yeah, but the thing is, what he says is, half the time what he says is just like obvious, you know? Like, nobody's gonna deny we need lower healthcare costs. Nobody's gonna deny we need to fight for workers' rights. I mean, that's stuff I say all the time. I don't know. He seems like a malicious actor, in my opinion. I don't trust him. I'm just gonna be straight up. I do not trust Plattner at all. It seems like he I mean, if you were a Yahtzee player, right? And you wanted to infiltrate the Democratic Party, what would be your method? Well, it'd be exactly what fucking Plattner is doing. Selling the populist brain rot, selling this populist messaging. I don't know. And meanwhile, still having beliefs that aren't as apparent to everybody. I just don't trust him. I'm gonna be honest. Except moderates seem unable. That's not true at all. Moderates run on a public option, man. Even the most moderate Democrat supports a public option. So I disagree. I think what he says most of the time is obvious, and he doesn't. I just do not trust the guy. Nazi thing under progressive platforms. Wait, no, not at all. Nazis were progressives. Think about it. Nazis were in a way, the progressives. They were National Socialist. They advocated on a platform of giving only the Germans, only true Germans, these rights. Like, these benefits. So I disagree, man. Nazis were rather, well, I wouldn't say progressive, but they advocated on a social platform. Not at all, man. Not at all. Alright, anyways, sorry. I just, I really don't trust the guy. He seems like a snake.
Mistakes are between me and my wife. And to her, I apologize deeply for putting her in this position.
I mean, do you deny that they advocated for a social platform for all Germans? I mean, I think it's way easier right now. If you're a Nazi, you're not getting through the normal democratic platform. You're not. We don't accept that shit. We do not accept that shit. For example, I mean, here's a perfect example. Swalwell is accused of all this horrible shit. That's not progressive. Well, I understand. I misspoke. No, not at all. That's not centrist shit at all, man. Not at all. Nazis are the ones that had a social platform to all Germans, you know? I disagree, man. But what I would all I want to say about Plattner is I just don't support the guy. I thought his excuse for the Nazi tattoo was just a very obvious lie. And if he's willing to lie to the American people about that, what else is he willing to lie about? I mean, really, guys, this is, I don't trust him at all. All Germans is America first. Well, I do see what you're talking about, but I am being real. No, my friend. They advocate, it's very, I do agree, it's very similar to how MAGA acts, but they also were very socialistic in some of their beliefs. All of this is to say that if I was in Maine, I wouldn't vote for Plattner in the primary, but I guess we'll see.
I also apologize to you if in any way you have doubted your support for me. But I think you know who I am.
Yeah, you got zero support from me, you fucking creep. Sorry, I'm just gonna show my hand. This is another person I'm just not trusting now. I mean, how do you have those allegations just come out? And he has previous allegations too. What was socialist? Because I don't see it other than name. Of course. So they had a program where if you had more children, you would get increased benefits. They had a program. I'm pretty sure they did have a nationalized health program as well.
For over 20 years, I have served the public. As a city councilman, as a member of Congress, and as a prosecutor who went to court on behalf
But
of...
I do not think that, like, obviously Plattner is better than the Republican. That's not socialist. Yes, it is. It's a socialized form of, it's a socialized benefit you get. No, getting like getting help in your raising of a child is a socialistic thing, and I'm okay with that. I'm fine. Just because the Nazis did it doesn't mean I am condemning it. I just think, you know, if you wanted to be a Nazi, it's much if you're a Nazi, it's a lot easier to get more popular. Oh my god, look at that, guys. Was the Child Care Act socialist? Yeah, in a way. Socialism isn't just a zero-sum game. It's on a scale, much like capitalism and much like other things. No, not at all. Show me a moderate that says the shit, that says some racist-ass shit, man. Especially in today's party. Not at all, man. No, I think Biden would oppose Nazi ideologies. I think Biden would oppose anti-Semitism. I do not think Plattner would, especially with this latest progressive wave being fairly anti-Semitic. Even if they don't mean to me. Show me the socialists? Okay, easy. Plattner. He's got a Nazi tattoo, man. Hassan's very anti-Semitic. Cenk Uygur. They all fall for this brain rot of they sell you a quick solution without addressing the actual problem. And I said this to the kid that asked me about politics last night. You know, I do not believe easy solutions. There's no quick fix to anything, guys. It takes time. And so anybody selling you this quick fix, oh, it's all the donors, oh, it's all this, oh, it's all that. But it doesn't actually, and they're telling you, oh, I can get rid of everything for you if we just attack the donor class. Or we can, we'll get rid of all of our problems if we ship out all the immigrants. It's the same thing, man. It's not gonna fix it overnight. No, Hassan is anti-Semitic. He calls Jews inbred. There's also a couple other examples, but no, Hassan is anti-Semitic. Even if I don't know if he's like meaning to be anti-Semitic, but he is. I've heard him say some crazy shit. And Hassan isn't a good representative, man. He's a dude, bro, that has said some horrible shit, not only about Jews, but about women. Hassan is not an ally. I wish he was. I really do wish he was. For example, why did he say he would fuck Miley Cyrus when she was a child? That one was weird. That one was a bit weird, guys. I'll be honest. He's not... Dude, I literally just gave you an example of an anti-Semitic thing he said. He is. He doesn't just criticize Israel. No, yes, it is. Calling somebody from Israel inbred is anti-Semitic as fuck, bro. But anyways, that's not really what I wanted to talk about, but that's all right. How is calling a person inbred anti-Semitic? Because there is a long stereotype of Jewish people being inbred, because it comes from the idea that Jews only, well, you can't deny that there's a large majority Jewish population, but also, no, it's not. I like how you're reframing this. No, it's not anti-Semitic at all. Because he was saying it about Hasidic Jews. He wasn't saying it about just Israelis. He was saying it about Hasidic Jews, my friend. Anyways. By the way, the next person that buys a membership will be named... My giant gecko that I have will be named after them. I mean, there's multiple examples. I don't really like to bash Hassan or anything, though, so I'm not, you know. I appreciate most of my leftist allies. Not even a group? Yes, Hasidic Jews are a group. What are we talking about? He's also just not a good representative, man. I think there's way better representatives for the progressive movement than Hassan Piker. I do. Hold on. He said it to a dude? No, hold on. Let's just... I guess we can watch the... Just examples of Hassan Piker being anti-Semitic. LOL who? I think Mehdi Hassan is a good fucking example of a progressive that cares for the Palestinian movement. He has said some off-color things, I'll admit, but I think Mehdi Hassan's a good example. No, not BE. Fuck that guy. Bad Empanada. I am not a fan of him. And then our leaders like AOC. I think AOC is a great example of somebody in the progressive movement that cares very much for a Palestinian state that isn't going to instantly shoot ourselves in the foot whenever we try to get policy passed. One moment, guys. Responds to accusations of anti-Semitism. I think Mamdani's a great example, too, of somebody who very much Whoa, that's insane. Netanyahu says Hitler didn't want to kill the Jews, but a Muslim Damn, Netanyahu, you're fucking crazy, bro. Fuck you. That's fucking insane. I cannot believe. I didn't know that. What a fucking weirdo. What a fucking weirdo. Here, I actually just want to get weird quotes Hassan has said, because he says there's this one quote about Miley Cyrus that is just like, whoa, what are you saying? Okay, here it is. Here's our boy.
Oh, hey, didn't see you there. I'm Hassan Piker, and this is Bro Tip. This week's Bro Tip is about bringing out the alpha male in you. A few things to consider when...
Dude, let's go, finally. I've been waiting. How can I bring out my alpha male, you know? So many people that I debate, they think I have, you know, low testosterone and all that. And unfortunately, it's actually the opposite. I actually have too much testosterone, and I have to, that's why I'm balding. And probably why I have some of my mental issues. But, let's go. Let's go. Bro tip number 1.
You're thinking about Lady Gaga as a top contender for Babe of the Week should be the fact that she might have a penis.
No, Mamdani isn't anti-Semitic because he's made it very clear that he opposes the state of Israel, not Jews. And the way you see that is how he reaches out to the Jewish community. The way he has tried to advocate for his cause without alienating people. Oh, by the way, and also Hassan Piker is transphobic too. I know he says he's for the trans and all that, but a lot of his quotes are transphobic as fuck. What are you talking about? Hakeem endorsed Mamdani, man. And I think that was a good move by them, actually, to hold out because it added some drama. It was like, oh my God, who's this bad boy coming out in the Democratic Party? Oh my, whoa, not even the Dems. The Dems are feeling a little iffy about him. Whoa now. Oh, but Hakeem just, big man Hakeem just gave him that blessing, ladies and gentlemen. I think it was pretty expertly played, honestly. All right, anyways, I needed to get something and I just completely forgot about it, so yeah. Oh, I need to get my book. Go off, Hassan.
Gaga as a top contender for Babe of the Week should be the fact that she might have a penis. The fact that Lady Gaga...
Just gonna ignore all the Dems calling him who called him anti-Semitic? What Dems were calling him anti-Semitic? I didn't see anybody call him anti-Semitic in the Democratic Party. Like, I never saw that, so if you could enlighten me, I'd like to see it.
Gaga might have a small penis.
That's so fucking weird, bro. Bro, you can't say that's weird. Schumer? Schumer on Mamdani. I'm not seeing. Schumer has a history with Mamdani, I'm seeing. Schumer had congratulated Mamdani. Yeah, well, that's fucking Kumo, bro. Kumo is a fucking disgraced member of the Democratic Party who can suck one because all he did was grope some women. He's a fucking piece of shit and kill a bunch of old people during COVID. Fuck that loser. No, not at all, man. Yeah, after. Who cares? He won. He won, so he didn't need the endorsement. But Schumer congratulating him after obviously shows that he was proud of Mamdani.
Does absolutely terrify me. Here's why the 5-second rule works. Because when you start thinking for longer than 5 seconds, you're immediately not thinking with your dick and also thinking with this pesky thing up here that we like to call our brains. So once you start thinking with your brain, you're...
Bro, I understand. I understand where you're coming from, but I just don't see how you see the endorsement after as an approval of him. And he didn't need to endorse him after because Hakeem already endorsed him, man. And I don't blame Schumer for being a little wary of Mamdani at first. There were some interesting things. Nonsense cope? No, bro, you're coping. You just want every Democrat to be evil. When in reality, we support each other, man. Mamdani is a Democrat, bro. And he appreciates the Democrats in our party. He endorsed Kathy Hochul. I don't know, man. I think you're coping a little bit. Yeah, the Hakeem endorsement last minute was vital. That was a good campaign. I think they worked together on that, man. They had a meeting before the endorsement, and I think they were planning that shit out. I don't know, bro. At the end of the day, though, we support Mamdani. Matter who with Cuomo? No, it's blue. It's blue no matter who, bro. Cuomo wasn't blue. What color was Cuomo? White. Well, he's not technically white, but well, he is actually very white. You guys know what I mean. He was an independent. So why the fuck would I support this fucking groper? Did any of the Dems? Yes, there were multiple Dems that supported Mamdani. Wait, no I didn't? What did I not do? No, I think we support Mamdani. Cuomo is blue and got no, that's not true at all. There were multiple interviews where people like Hakeem Jeffries was saying fuck Schumer. There were multiple interviews of different Democrats condemning. Did I say Schumer? My bad. Condemning Cuomo. And I condemn Cuomo. Hassan says he would vote third and it's a travesty. Goddamn right, because he has a large audience and he knows what's at stake right now. You're damn right. But he doesn't, Hassan, okay guys, I'm gonna break the news. Hassan doesn't care about any of the political topics he talks about, okay? I just have to make that clear. He's just in it for the clout. I'm sorry, he really is. He's not somebody who actually gives a fuck about our struggles in life. He doesn't experience those struggles in life. The double... what are you talking about? What double standard? I vote blue no matter who. Cuomo was not blue. And I think you can hear from my language how I talk about Cuomo. I'm not a fan of Cuomo. I think he's a little fucking bitch boy that deserves to be in jail. Anyways, we gotta... Hold on, let me... One moment. I think I put away my book. Oh no. Okay, there it is. Oh, by the way, guys, I got some new fresh armor. I hope I'm looking fresh. I hope you guys like this. It's called, I don't remember my, the descriptions. How a party didn't go so loud about it. I was loud about it. I mean, well, yeah, because that streamer has way more influence than Cuomo could ever hope to have. And that streamer has said some horrible shit, bro. Not at all. Because we supported Mamdani. It seems like a one-way street. It seems... This is what I'm talking about, man. You want change and instant happening overnight. When the progressive wave is getting representation in Mamdani, in AOC, in Ilhan Omar. We are getting representation. God damn it. Cuomo does kill old people. I fucking totally agree. Fucking little piece of shit. I can't believe he tried to fucking run again like a fucking loser. Especially after we told him, you know what, man, don't run. I think Mamdani's got it. This little bitch boy wants to go on the air and have a full fucking cope session about, oh, Mamdani's horrible. Oh, he's anti-Semitic. Meanwhile, fucking Cuomo has killed how many old people? How many fucking people died because of his horrible policy on COVID? Fuck that loser. Well, the reason he's getting attacked by moderates is because we know how bad this looks. We know that Hassan Piker, and you see it in my lives, man. They think Hassan Piker is a representation of all Democrats. That's why I don't like Hassan Piker. Because he gives us a bad look. He gives us a look of somebody who is just as bigoted as the right, but supports some social policies. So, great. No, man, we want good candidates. We don't want people that are going to damn an entire section of the population. Fuck yeah, fuck this dude. He's not an ally, bro. He is not.
You're immediately going to psych yourself.
And, like, look at this. A trans joke, dude. Lady Gaga's a man. Wow. Thank you, Hassan. Thank you. He's not as bigoted as the right. Have you heard his statements on trans? Here, I'll give you another example. No, he is a bigot. He is. And I'm not gonna act like he's not. He is the definition of a bigot. Just because he supports policies we support doesn't mean we can't call this shit out. In 2007? No. This joke, I believe, was around 2016. Actually, a little. When were these clips from? I believe they're from the Young Turks channel. No, he's not. Yes, he is. He's a bigot, and I know that he's a big figurehead in the left, but he is a bigot. He lies. He manipulates, and he doesn't support the candidate. So why would I show support to Hassan? I don't think I support his policies? Bro. You know I support universal health care. You know I support re-examining our stance on Israel. You know I support a two-state solution. But do I ever come off as bigoted as Hassan Piker? No. And that's because I'm not a bigot. And I know what did he lie about? Lied about his and H3's relationship. He lied about his stances on socialism. He's saying, you know, there's a famous clip where he said, I'm gonna pretend to be a liberal, but actually advocate for communistic policies and trying to indoctrinate the youth. He talks about that stuff, man. Yes, I push a public option because I know it's a way to get to universal health care. I know we're not going to be able to have universal health care overnight. That's why I push a public option. He did. I'm sorry, man. He's a bigot. But listen, bro, like I always say, I do not want to spend all my time bashing lefties. I think most of the time they're great people that have great policy and are trying to push the party in a better direction. I just don't think Hassan is part of that. You and Hassan, okay, so I'm dumb. You and Hassan are totally different people. Even you, I know you guys have some pretty similar stances, but I think if you saw like a true fascist like JD Vance running and it was Gavin Newsom, I know you would swallow your fucking, you know, you would probably vote for Gavin Newsom. I know right now you say you wouldn't, but I do. Anyways, let's talk about it's clown time argument. What? I don't even know. Anyways, I don't really like bashing lefties. You'd go third even if you knew that a fascist takeover would happen. Okay. So even if you knew a fascist takeover would happen, you'd still go third? I highly doubt that, man. No, so between a moderate and a Nazi, you'd go third party? Really? We'll have the House and the Senate. Trust me, Trump's policies are horrible and we're getting elected in mass waves. And we're still going to be feeling those policies the next presidential candidate. I'd rather have the presidency. What are we talking about here? I'd rather have all three. Really, no regret. So, as, you know, immigrants are being sent to death camps, and all that, you're going to sit there and say, oh, I didn't regret my vote. I voted third party. Hell no, you wouldn't, bro. We got to get off this meme hole, though. We got to. No, what are you, dude? That's totally wrong. Biden didn't give him the House and Senate. We gained seats in the Senate and in the House. He didn't give him the House and the Senate. What are we talking about here? Asmongold just fucked Twitch hard. No, bro. Biden passed amazing policy and he did great. I don't know why we have to, like, I feel like, I don't know. Oh, a mini documentary from Hassan. I went to Cuba, guys. Trump impeachment? I mean, I don't think we're going to get an impeachment. And I also don't think it would be smart. I think we really need to wait until we get more power. Oh, Bill Maher brutally destroys AOC's talking points on live TV. Will I get copyright claimed if I watch Bill Maher, guys? Will I get copyright claimed? Because Bill Maher is a fucking dipshit, dude. He is real fucking stupid. But I don't know. Really want to call in about this because I hate doing it via text. Well, I mean, I'm in Discord right now if you want to pop in there, but I did kind of just want, I don't really like doing this, man. Because I want to strengthen our allies and strengthen progressive voices. I don't want to shit on them just because they have one bad representative in Hassan. Anyways. Brandon Gill? Who the fuck is that? Alright, fuck it. We'll watch... actually, hold on. I did want to see... Yeah, we can do it during the debate stream, for sure. Shadow Wizard Money Gang. We love casting spells. Ah! Let's look at what BTC has to say. Okay. I think you would be far more benefited in voting for a Democrat. But all right, we can talk about that.
Legal breakdown, Glenn. We have.
But anyways, let's listen to his mass. This is concerning, honestly.
Journal, wherein Donald Trump has apparently, reportedly, promised anybody in the White House that's gone, quote, within 200 feet of the Oval Office a pardon. Can you explain your reaction first and foremost to this news?
And you want to know something? I'm gonna be brave right here, ladies and gentlemen. Gonna be brave. If it was JD Vance versus Hassan Piker, I would vote Hassan Piker. Okay. I'm not like some of my fellow liberals who fucking pearl clutch at that. I do think Hassan would be pretty bad, but I do not. I think JD Vance would be 10 times worse. So, to any of my liberals out there that is not willing to make that concession, you need to reevaluate yourself and stop pearl clutching the lefties, because that is fucking ridiculous. JD Vance is fucking evil, bro. So if you're not willing to make those concessions, you as a liberal need to really reevaluate your stances. Because that, I heard that when I was listening to a podcast, and I just jaw dropped to the floor. No fucking way. Yeah, I mean, hey, bro, you say that, okay, Sumdum, you say that, but there were certain streamers that were saying they would vote for JD Vance. They would vote for Epstein over Hassan Piker. You say that, but there are a lot of liberals out there that are, well, I don't know if it's a lot. Honestly, I think we're all coalescing now and banding together, but nah, dude, there were people on my side, and I was pissed off about it. I think these people, I really do think by people calling out Hassan so much, it's just growing his image. Like, they're being fucking stupid. If you don't like the guy, just don't talk about him. And guess what? He'll disappear. He'll fade from relevancy. He'll fade from relevancy. Like, I feel like it's so fucking embarrassing. These people have forgotten how popularity works. Where if you talk about somebody, they're gonna be more popular. But if you don't talk about him, he'll slowly disappear. But here we are in the year of our Lord, 2026, and we don't understand how notoriety and fame works. It's just embarrassing. No, serious, thank you. I hear it a lot. Well, to all, yeah, that pisses me off. That truthfully pisses me off to hear.
Yeah,
Sumdum, I don't know if you watch Pisco, but I feel like you'd actually really like Pisco. Me and him disagree on some things, but I think Pisco is a good is like a really good liberal that's able to mend the bridge, you know, fill the divide. I think he's a cool dude too. Just a little recommendation if you are ever looking for someone to watch and I'm not here.
Lawlessness now controls the White House as if it didn't already, but there is.
I like Pisco. Yeah, Pisco's sick. I love him. I take it semi-personal because I feel they just use Hassan as an avatar to bash the left. Yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree on that part. I don't like Hassan because of the things he's said and just some of the things he's represent, but I'm not trying, you know, I say it all the time. I appreciate my leftist allies. I do. I think they are constantly pushing the needle, which is something we need in our party. You know, I may be more moderate, but I see a lot of value in having this section of our party that is constantly pushing forward. So I don't bash the left at all. I think it's ridiculous that in the year of our Lord 2026, when we have Trump in the White House, motherfuckers want to talk about leftists. Bro, I think we've got a way fucking bigger problem right now than if somebody is a communist or a socialist. If they're willing to fight fascism with me, then they're my friend. It would take a lot for me to say, oh no, they're not an ally, you know? It would take a lot. And unfortunately, I do feel Hassan breaks into that category, but I think Kyle Kulinski is a pretty cool dude. You know, I think he's, you know, we disagree on some things, but he always tries to support the Democrat, and he's a pretty respectful dude, or a pretty cool dude too, so.
And one message only being sent by Donald Trump to everyone within earshot. Go ahead and commit all the crimes you want, all the
and then one more thing that's really annoyed me about some liberals recently. They're all like, oh, you know, if you're just a liberal that bashes Trump, you know, that's super easy. And, you know, what's the classic cope? It's like, there's other issues other than just Trump. Yeah, but my friend, who controls the White House right now? Who is in charge right now? And you're going to sit here and tell me I shouldn't be talking about Trump. That's ridiculous. And then half the time they just want to talk about leftists. That does frustrate me. And I think it frustrates a lot of other liberals too. Because I just hear it all, you know, I hear from liberals like, thank God you're not talking about the left and all that type of shit. So, like, we can do that, you know, if we're in power for a while and there's a real discussion about which way the party can go and all that, then yeah, we can, you know, we can have discussions and debate and shit. And obviously I don't think the personal attacks have any place in our politics, but Yeah, especially because Trump is doing something really shitty every day. And you want to talk about Hassan Piker. Not you, Sumdum. I'm just talking about the liberals. And I'm a liberal myself, so, you know. But for real, like, evaluate where we are, where our position is.
Times you can in service to me, and I've got your back with a pardon. Brian, this is really, one step removed from actively commissioning crimes when he's sending the signal, you can do whatever you damn well please. Do not be constrained by the law. Do
Hold
not
on, I
be
gotta get up real quick.
deterred with a concern that you might be held accountable for your own criminal wrongdoing. I've got you. I will issue mass pardons to everybody on my way out of the Oval Office. And that is a recipe for the end of a democracy and the beginning of a dictatorship proper.
Okay, so I have to ask here.
True.
Can you talk about the...
Very true. It's just so sad to see Trump take advantage of our... We have a beautiful system. The issue I have with the left is that they both the same, but there's a clear difference between Dems and Republicans. Yeah, no, for sure. There's a very like, one is actively accepting fascism. You know, I made this point. There was a conservative I was talking to, and they were criticizing liberals for Trump bashing too much. And I go, listen, man, it's not our fault. Your entire movement accepted fascism. That's not our fault. And for you to, because he agrees Trump is bad, but for you to pearl clutch about that, like, you didn't address the problem. So now we have to. You guys didn't address the problem. So now we have to. And yes, we need to oppose Trump every day because we cannot let this be normal. We can't. And we need to make sure once Trump is out of office, the people that fucked with our democracy pay for it. Not in blood, but in time served. Because this is... he's making an embarrassment out of our democracy. And you guys know me, I fucking love our democracy. So it really does just infuriate me to no end to see all these... it's not only liberal. It really, like, these more moderate liberals say, oh, we need to not talk about Trump so much. Bro, what the fuck else are we supposed to do? Like, come on, man. What the hell else are we... we don't have power right now. Like, we're doing as much as we can. It's very frustrating.
The legality of these pardons, because, on one hand, I understand that the courts have ruled that the pardon power is plenary. There are no limitations to who and when Trump can dole them out. But on the other hand, I mean, if you have somebody who swore an oath to uphold the laws, who is then
real quick, I know we can't start a video or else, But I did make a farm, and it's called Karg. I named it after Karg Island. Because it's an island. It kind of looks like Karg a little bit. Kind of looks a little bit like Karg. Gonna be honest. Just a slight resemblance, okay? A slight resemblance.
As a get out of jail free card, literally and figuratively, to be able to commit crimes with impunity. Does the spirit of the pardon power have any effect here?
Not as far as any court precedent goes. And I phrase my answer in that way for a couple of reasons, Brian. First of all, I agree, and I'm going to admit I agree reluctantly and begrudgingly that the pardon power is plenary, it's broad, it's sweeping, and thus far, it seems to be without constraint. However, there has never been a case brought where, for example, a president commissions somebody to commit a crime in his name. Let's go one step further and assume they are part of an ongoing criminal conspiracy to commit crimes together and get away with those crimes. And then the president pardons his co-conspirator, and let's say the president keeps all the money that the co-conspirator stole from the American people on his behalf and at his request. Brian, there is no court precedent ruling, deciding that that's good to go. That is well within, the language of the pardon power, and, needless to say, it would violate the spirit of the pardon power. It would be obscene and offensive to everything the founders of our nation conceived when they were putting our democracy, our republic together. But, I can't predict what a corrupt Supreme Court might do. We have a compromised Supreme Court at the moment that looked at the express language of the Constitution.
Bro, what the hell was
says
that?
That a president has a constitutional obligation to take care.
I swear to
that the
God,
laws of the
I'm
nation be
just getting zapped by
executed.
lightning
Somebody
constantly.
explain to me how in the
It's so frustrating. Like, I just constantly am being zapped by fucking lightning. Oh, great. Bro! What the hell was that? Who's zapping me with lightning? Who the hell is zapping me with lightning? Get fucking wrecked. Yeah, I don't know what's happening there. I just, for some reason, am getting zapped by lightning constantly. And I don't know who's doing it. Alright.
hell. That translates into a president can violate all of the laws of our country, victimizing the American people in the process, and the law can't touch him. He can't be held criminally accountable. In a very real sense, just as preeminent constitutional scholar, Yale law professor Akhil Reed Amar said in that Supreme Court opinion, the Supreme Court ruled that the Constitution is unconstitutional. That is obviously not a legitimate opinion. The problem is, Brian, there is no appeal from a Supreme Court ruling. So it's very hard to hold
Iran is doing it.
lawless
Yeah,
Supreme
that's what's
Court that
happening.
has-
God damn it. I took Karg Island and now Iran is shocking me. No, we all knew it was going to be a bloodbath. No! Oh, jeez. Yeah, how are those talks going? I think I'm going to check in on them after this video. Something tells me not very well. Like, oh, why am I not eating this? Interesting. But, yeah, something tells me these talks aren't going too well.
From the language, the text, and the spirit of the Constitution, hold them accountable in any way. But here's what we have to do. I do not subscribe to the approach that we just throw our hands up. We say, I guess Donald Trump gets to commission crimes for the remaining, 2 to 3 years on his term, and everybody gets away with it. Nothing can be done. No, bullshit. You contest corruptly delivered pardons in court. Because
Oh,
the
interesting.
Supreme Court has revisited, constitutional interpretation throughout the existence of the court. If they didn't, we would still be living under Plessy versus Ferguson's horrific separate but equal government-sponsored racial segregation and discrimination. But we don't. This is one of those things where we have to take take off the gloves. We have to challenge corruptly delivered pardons.
Damn
and we
right.
have to work them through the courts. Because can you imagine if the Supreme, I'm going to answer my own question. Of course we can imagine the Supreme Court taking up for review the question of wholesale presidential pardons by which a president, commissions crimes for his own benefit and enrichment, and the Supreme Court gives it its blessing and saying that's good to go under our Constitution. That's the way our democracy should operate. If they want to stick with that, then we really don't have much hope of keeping our republic.
Glenn, in terms of being able to actually challenge some of the stuff, recognizing that the pardon power is plenary, that the Supreme Court will serve as a backstop for Trump, can you talk about the role that states might play in some of these crimes that Donald Trump is kind of welcoming or inviting by virtue of saying, hey, anybody that came within 200 feet of the Oval Office is eligible for a pardon? What role do the states and state attorneys general play here?
Brian, that is one of the, little hints of a silver lining lurking behind the big orange dark cloud that is Donald Trump. Donald Trump stands a convicted felon today, 34 times over. Why? Because that conviction was handed down by a state jury, by a state court in New York, and that is beyond the reach of the pardon power. If it wasn't for the ability of the state to go after Trump,
that's what I always say. If he wants to pardon him, so we could definitely get him, even Donald Trump, on some state charges potentially. I don't know if that will happen just because of be kind of it'd be pretty unprecedented, but that can happen. So don't give up hope. This motherfucker may still be able to go to prison.
Committed in violation of New York state law, he would not be a convicted felon today, but there's nothing he can do about it because the presidential pardon only reaches federal crimes and federal convictions, not state court crimes. And here's the thing, Brian, people may or may not know, every time you commit a federal crime, you almost always certainly commit a related state court crime. The easiest example is if you criminally cheat on your federal income taxes. Well, you know what? People who do that don't generally go on to, fully declare their income and only take appropriate deductions on their state court income tax returns when they're cheating on their federal income tax returns. So the states can certainly step into a void left by a lawless Department of Justice and a lawless federal executive branch, and can even get around the presidential pardon power by doing what? By bringing appropriate state court.
Your own travel, I think, is dumber. Shirley can at least give the illusion of journalism. That's true. See, I just, how is your own travel not a little smarter? Actually, how is he not a little smarter? For real. He debates people every day. Why can he not? I agree with you. I do think Euro and Travel is dumber, but they also look the exact same. But this man, I debate people and, I get informed about their thoughts and views. He just constantly is just, I don't know, man. Again, I wanted to call into his show, but unfortunately, when you call someone the L word in MAGA servers, there's a big soy out. Big soy out. But how is he not is a good question. Hey, how is he? How is he not a little bit smarter? How is this man not a little bit smarter? Come on, you hear he hears what we say every day, and yet he just continues to be a big dumb doofus.
Prosecutions, and we are forever waiting for that to occur when it comes to, for example, unlawful police-involved killings of American citizens like Renee Good and Alex Preddy. And the state, even though the feds won't do anything about it, the state, Minnesota, is aggressively pursuing that. And that would be, beyond the reach of the pardon power in the event there were state court convictions obtained in those cases. So, the states are going to have to step up. They have been reluctant thus far, and I understand why. But, now that we have virtually an announcement that the remainder of Donald Trump's administration will be lawless and everybody will be, expecting to receive a presidential pardon, and they will undoubtedly, act accordingly. They will be completely undeterred and unconstrained. This spells more trouble than we're already contending with, but let's hope it also inspires state law enforcement authorities. Let's hope it inspires the federal courts up to and including the Supreme Court. Let's hope it inspires the Republicans in Congress. I know, and pigs will soon fly. But
yeah, I was about to say, I don't know about if that will happen.
For all of those things, because, the rule of law really should be a thing in a functioning, civilized democracy.
Glenn, kind of a weird hypothetical question here, but if Washington, D.C. did have statehood, then would the crimes that were committed in the federal district aspect of it, would those be eligible to be prosecuted as state crimes? Or would the federal district in and of itself be its own entity and still not eligible for prosecution as a state crime?
Well, laws would have to change. And, statehood for D.C. would be a change in the direction of complete autonomy and independence of the, let's call it the state of D.C. government and the courts and the prosecutor's office. But as of right now, presently constituted, presidential pardons apply not only to all federal convictions obtained in the courts of Washington, D.C., but all local convictions obtained in D.C. City Court, right? It's a local court, the Superior Court for the District of Columbia, where I prosecuted many, many, many criminal cases. That is the only local court in all of the United States and the territories where a federal presidential pardon would apply to a local conviction. So things would have to change. Statehood for D.C. would be the first step, and then it would have to completely separate itself from the control and the authority of the federal government, just like the other 50 states.
Another question here, kind of hypothetical, but if we're looking in the future to change the pardon power, is that something that we could do with legislation, or because the pardon power is written into the Constitution, would it require a constitutional amendment? Which is to say, if you have a president who's going to engage in criminal activity and views the pardon power as, a blank check to be able to commit it without having to worry, or dole it out to his subordinates without them having to worry, is that something that could be fixed with legislation, or would it require a constitutional amendment?
I think it would almost certainly require a constitutional amendment. I've read lots of scholarly opinions that suggest maybe we could pass legislation that would pass constitutional muster, that could kind of constrain the pardon power. For example, require the executive branch to have a mandatory review process that goes through the Department of Justice to make sure they are, for example, stress testing any proposed presidential.
Yeah, there has to be limits on pardons. It's insane what you can pardon people for.
But at the bottom line is, with this Supreme Court that seems
if you fuck a horse, you shouldn't be allowed to get out of jail for a while.
Presidential power rather than
shout out if you guys know what that's a reference to.
Even letting Congress put reasonable safeguards on it. I think it very unlikely that there could successfully be legislation to channel or constrain the pardon power that would pass constitutional muster with the Supreme Court as presently constituted. But I don't think that's a reason not to try. But I do think at the end of the day, Brian, it would require an amendment to the Constitution.
Something that I've been thinking about in terms of the opposition that would garner, because, I think reflexively, if Democrats were to say, we want limitations on the pardon power, you'd have Republicans who wouldn't. And frankly, as we've seen, Republicans are much more willing to abuse these kind of powers than the Democrats. The institutionalists, for better or worse, I would argue for worse, the institutionalists that they are. But there's a world where I'm just thinking, if a Democratic president came in and just said, you know what, I'm going to teach you the reasons as to why it's important to not have a pardon power, a plenary pardon power to one person in this country, that we should be a country of laws. I'm just going to allow these, all of these boogeymen on the left to walk free. And then suddenly you'd have a bunch of Republicans saying, you know what, we do need limitations on the pardon power.
Not exactly wrong.
Goose is good for the gander, or maybe the more apt saying is an eye for an eye.
Yeah.
And then we
No, for sure. I agree with you, Sumdum. He shouldn't be able to pardon himself. It's insane.
The ethics front, the morality front, the civilized society front. So something's got to give. And I hope it's not our democracy. I hope it is that, we now see that some of the MAGA folks are breaking away. Certainly the MAGA influencers are now turning on Donald Trump for, his lawlessness, his dangerous, play in the Middle East with absolutely no lawful or constitutional authority to launch the war he launched, and the Epstein files. And, there are so many things that feel like they're catching up to him. And let's face it, Brian, all it really takes is a handful of Republicans to cross the aisle to save democracy. He could easily be impeached and removed. And yes, we would then have a President Vance. I can't imagine he would be worse than Donald Trump. He might even end up being a little better on the margins. But I think with Donald Trump in power, and with this latest revelation that he's basically telling everybody.
No, I agree. Well, that's because we had presidents that fucking respected our Constitution and understood the rule of law. But Donald Trump doesn't get the rule of law. He thinks it's something he can just fuck around with forever and not adhere to. But he'll learn. He'll learn. Maybe when Eric gets indicted for, I don't know, there's a whole thing, a lot of things Eric and Trump Jr. have done. So maybe once they get indicted on some very serious charges and he's not in office anymore, maybe then he'll take it seriously, but it's too late for him. Way too late for him. Oh, dude, there's going to be... You guys are not even ready for the amount of corruption Donald Trump is going to be. Like, when the Democrats take the House, they are going to expose so much corruption. I don't even know. Where do you even begin? Where do you even begin if you're a Democrat? Part of those committees. Oh, geez, they're going to have their hands full. But yeah, the pardon power is just too, it's too powerful. We shouldn't have this type of system where the president can just decide, oh, well, this person's innocent. So I am all for making it way harder to get pardons in the future.
Remainder of my term, and I've got your back. I mean, that is us just kind of slouching toward the end of our republic. And if the Republicans in Congress have no appetite to stop the destruction of American democracy, well, then they're just going to let Donald Trump keep running wild.
Well, look, I think all of this...
Yeah, well, have Republicans shown themselves to be good at doing that? I don't think so. Oh, yeah, for sure. These midterms, we gotta win them, man. Oh, geez. Now that we did the Grays episode, we're getting a bunch of UFO and alien recommendations. This seems like it would be funny. Damn, Hakeem Jeffries does have a piece, but this seems like it's gonna be funny, so let's watch it. UFO experts. All right, guys. If you didn't catch the members only stream yesterday, we discussed the origins of the Greys and who the Greys are. And Joe Rogan was with us for that one. So let's see what he's saying. How quick that turns into Nazi occult. Oh yeah, trust me. I know. The Nazis had some weird ass beliefs, bro. Even for, I'm a chaos magician, and you know, I switch my beliefs and spiritualism all the time, but dude, these guys had some weird, here's the thing. Fascism, I think fascism is at its worst when nerds are in power. Nerds really are like the key to horrible fascism. Nazis were huge fucking weird nerds, dude. Believed in some weird ass vril shit. Like, come on. Grow up, man. Alright.
But anyway, that's where we're heading this one day. So we all packed up. We're from Beatty, Nevada, which is the Berlin. I can tell you that's where we all hold up at. And we take off from there every morning to go do the AM and the PM push. That's what you call it when the war is on. You call it the push. So we got one.
When the war is on? Bro, what? Are we at war with aliens right now, guys? Just kidding. Of course we are. What am I talking about? Of course we're at war with aliens right now. Are you joking? All right, we're going to do... No, I don't like that. Actually, doesn't look horrible.
The morning called AM push, one in the afternoon PM push. So we were all heading up for the AM push. In the combos, 3 vehicles, about 3 or 4 people per vehicle. I'm in the lead vehicle with the ranking guy. He's driving, and I'm right behind him. And there's another gentleman in the passenger seat across from the driver, and then there's a young lady next to me. And we're all going up. And the ranking guy had been there the week before, and he had seen the craft fly by. Because that was out there on the internet. You can pull down the video. There's a report that goes along with it.
There's a video that we can watch right now?
Right now, yeah. What would you search? Search for, let me think, Nellis Test Range UFO 1994.
Oh, you mean the Draconians, some dumb? You mean the Draconians? You damn right they get no love. Those damn Draconians are interbreeding with humans. Oh, wait. Hold on. I'm not showing. Hold on. Let me go to my news part. I don't know if you saw this, some dumb, but let me show you. 50 Shades of Grey. This was a good meme. Good meme. And we got Howard in the background. I actually kind of like this. Oh, think somebody made that. Here, let me turn off the timer. Somebody drew that. This is hand drawn. This is hand drawn. Somebody drew this. And just another example, the Greys are stealing our women and our cows, ladies and gentlemen. Now, which one's more important? I'll let you decide. Shit, I actually want to keep this. I like the little Howard the Alien in the background. But I know you guys like me playing Minecraft, so. But fuck it. But fuck it.
Don't
Who filmed this? This was filmed by the operators on the range because we're putting these pilots in a risky situation by playing war with them, but we're training them. So if there is any kind of a mishap or a pilot or plane goes down, everything needs to be recorded. So
this is it right here?
Yes. So this video is being taken by one of these cameras that's up on the range. And along the bottom, you see that this is also trying to lock on to the craft so it can follow it.
Right.
Because this is the kind of way that you want to track if there's a craft that's having problems.
This is moving very erratically.
Right. So this is what the ranking guy saw.
Right. This is moving very erratically.
It's an automated system.
So the automated system is having a hard time
locking onto
it.
Yeah, if it locks on, you'll see a big spike, and that means it finally locks on. It's not trying to, but something is stopping it from locking on, and they think it was the craft.
It's moving like crazy, side to side, all over.
There's actually a recording that goes with it where you hear the guys going, "Hey, does anybody know what this is? What's going on here?"
Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can't hear what they're saying. All I'm hearing is... Oh, maybe that's the aliens. Oh, okay. Good point, good point. Telling myself I had a good point. That's great. I'm just waiting. One day, see, Joe really is somebody that kind of pisses me off because he was very liberal before this Trump wave, and then he just bought into the grift. And so I don't have much love for Joe. I'll be honest.
Okay, the sound's terrible.
Yeah.
They need better mics.
Honestly, that's not
podcast
working up there.
Oh, I'm sure, but he's saying, what is that? I don't know. We're having a hard time locking onto it.
Right. This is the video operator. So the following week after this happened.
Bro, how the fuck did you tell that? All I heard was...
This video was taken. The ranking guy who'd been there the week before and saw this flying. He takes you in this, when you go on the range through this one gate here, it goes up a little ways, and then there's a cantonment area. It's got a very small place where you can change your tires, get gas, just minor maintenance to get you put home if you have a car that's busted. And then in the back of that cantonment area, there's two huts that look like campers, really, glorified campers. So the video operators are in the one that's off to the northeast of the cantonment, in the very corner of it. And the ranking guy just says, we all have to go in here. We're going to go talk to the video operators. We have to do this. And this was because the week prior, everybody came back to Garrison, or back to
what happened?
And they'd seen this thing. And
they had seen it.
So we go in there, and there's the video operator.
Oh no. I need a better laptop at some point, guys. I'm sorry, it's not the best quality in the world.
And he says, do you know what this is? And I'm like, no.
Someday we will be. We're actually, since we're getting so popular. Yeah, I don't mean to, pat myself on the back, but I will say I am getting relatively popular, as in like more people are watching my videos and stuff and watching my streams. And so at some point we may be able to afford a new gaming PC, or not even just a streaming PC. So we don't have the constant lag interruptions, but not right now. We cannot do it right now. That's all right. But I really do appreciate like all the support I've gotten recently. It brightens my day whenever somebody's like, "Hey, I really enjoy your videos," and it helps me understand politics a little better. That makes me smile. And something else, there's a lot of children that are getting into politics, and that's fucking sick, dude. I wish I was, well, I was fairly into politics. Yeah, I'm going for a desktop if I ever do get to the point where I can afford one. But on the point I was talking about, I was into politics at a young age, and I think that really helped me understand the world a little better. So it makes me very happy to see that younger people are getting into politics and enjoying it,
There, saw it and had wrote their name down. We were allowed to leave, and that was all that was required. And so I was like, well,
we were allowed to leave. I don't know. I feel like if the U.S. military if you if the U.S. military, if they knew you had just seen a fucking UFO, they wouldn't just let you leave,
and I was
Bubs.
exiting this lady that had been sitting against the wall in the far part of the this little hut that we were in, and she like grabs my arm and she just says, "There's somebody on the range. Don't talk to him." She was really, really freaked out. And I'm like, "Thanks, strange, freaky lady. Got it." And I'm like, "Whatever." So like we all hop out, we get in the vehicles, and then start taking off towards Quartz Mountain, because right at that cantonment area, there's a hard right. There's a hard right that goes off to Quartz.
Hard right?
Right.
Yeah, that's
And,
what you're on right now.
About a mile, half a mile to a mile down that road. It's all dirt road, by the way. There's this guy. Looks like he's wearing a uniform like we are. He's got battle dress uniform on. So he sees us and he starts to look like he's running. And he's got this really weird run, like his arms are kind of flailing behind. It's like he was running against a hurricane wind, and it was like he was going to fall over at any time. And I was like, yeah, it's a bit windy today, but it ain't that bad. So it looked really strange, and I began to notice his skin tone looked like he might be hypothermic. And I'm thinking, oh crap, this dude's been out here. It's freaking freezing out here, because it was a very cold day, and the wind was blowing. It was,
He's an alien.
And,
He saw an alien. His arms were just flapping in the air. Poor dude probably saw some fucking guy dying of hypothermia.
So
said that's an alien.
Hey, you need to slow down. So anyway, I'm thinking this guy's probably in big trouble. I need to pull off my jacket. I need to give him something to get warm real quick. So I'm starting to do that. We're approaching, and by the time I get my jacket most of the way off, he's right there at the corner of the front of the car. And
So he looks pale? Is that what you're saying?
you look like an albino with a very bluish kind of undertone. If you can imagine,
So you're assuming like you're
Oh, a bluish undertone. Okay. Probably it's a tall white. Oh no! Not the tall whites. No. Oh, jeez. Do you guys remember? Hold on. I gotta bring up another video. Do you guys remember the video of the white creatures? Here, I'll show you guys the tall whites we're all afraid of. No, they know damn well which one I'm looking for. It was a huge hoax. Hey, my bad, didn't mean to spoil it, but with only legs. There we go. Maybe that'll help us find it. Oh, wow. The brain rot. The brain rot is real. Come on. Is this a memory that I just made up? I don't think so. Hold on. YouTube, why are you failing me? All right. White creature with only legs and a head walking around. Here they are. Wait, is this it? No, that's not it. The Fresno Nightcrawlers. Here we go. These are the tall whites, ladies and gentlemen. Here, let me boost the quality for you guys so you can really see this. Here they come. All right. Warning. Warning. There they are. Oh, no. It's the tall whites. No. Oh, it's got scary music, too. That's how you know it's real. Here they are. Oh, no. They're coming to steal your girl. That's who we're afraid of right now. That's who we're afraid of right now. That was all fake, by the way. That was all fake. It was a fake, it was a huge hoax. But that's who we're afraid of.
Immediately associating that with like he's freezing.
Yeah, because that's all I could do.
That's all he could do. He was just so shocked. That's all he could do, ladies and gentlemen.
As I'm starting to open my door to try to administer aid to this guy, the dude in the front passenger seat screams he's got no ears. And
he's got no ears, bro. Just imagine this scenario, right? You're going to help this guy out. He looks like he's hypothermic. You know, you're there to help them. And then the motherfucker in the back of the car screams, "He's got no ears!" That's not what's happening.
I thought that was pretty rude. I was like, the guy's in
Does he
trouble.
have a hat on? Does he
He's
have
got a hat on, and he's got BDUs that look absolutely clean, pristine. And when you're uprange, you do not wear your cleanest uniform. You're in a dirty environment. You wear your scuffed up boots. You don't take them with you.
So he's got a clean battle dress uniform,
Everything.
United States military
Very out of
uniform.
place. Yeah, it looks very out of place when I finally do it. But anyway, I step out onto the roadway, and this guy screams that he's got no ears. And I just think it's really rude. And then I close the door, and I look up, and he's got no freaking ears. And his eyes are twice as big. And I just am like, yeah.
Oh my God. He's got no ears and his eyes are twice as big. And your thought isn't, oh, this guy might need some help. It's, he's a fucking alien! Something tells me that that man didn't actually meet an alien. He actually did meet somebody that was not doing too well. Something tells me there's a little more to this story that he's not letting on about. What if it turns out it actually was some dude that they were just freaked out by and they left him there and he fucking died?
What the hell did I just walk into? This guy's not from around
How
here.
far away from him are you?
Probably from
Just a few feet?
Yeah, just talking distance.
Okay.
And I'm starting to freak out, but then he starts to talk to me, and it's not my language, but it's coming to, the understanding is like coming into my mind about every word he's saying, because...
Bro, what?
So he's actually saying words.
He's saying words, but it doesn't sound like anything I've heard before.
But you're understanding what he's saying.
But I'm understanding, so I know there's a telepath.
So he's saying, so I know there's a telepathic connection there. Oh, wow. You sure he just wasn't like speaking Spanish or something and you just misinterpreted? No, not at all. That's not what could have happened. Nope. No way. He's got no ears! Poor dude. Is this just an admittance of like death by like an admittance to manslaughter or something? I don't know. I don't really trust this guy. I don't know, man. I'm not really trusting this man. Yeah, he just had a thick accent. It's like, okay, I can understand you, but you don't speak like me.
Thing going on here, and it calms me down at the same time because I'm having to respond to him. And he's like, "Hello, I'm having trouble with my craft. I need some repair material. Do you know where I can find some tritium?" And this is what he's talking to me about. And I'm like, "You mean titanium?" Because I didn't know anything about tritium at the time. But titanium, he's like, "No, it's not it." And I'm like, "Well, at this point in my career, I had just left the program, so I knew where Dreamland was." And I pointed to the mountain range because you can see for days in the desert. But I pointed towards the mountain range and I said, "Dreamland's just over there." And this wave of emotion hit me like disgust. Like, I am not going to talk to the barbarians and murderers. You know,
Wow, so he was saying that to you, like
Yeah.
his reaction to going to the military base. Was,
exactly. Yeah,
I was
but
not
he did
gonna
not like it. He said, "I am not going to talk to those people." And
Bro, what? So how did he have a military uniform? How did he get, did they just make the military uniform out of nothing? Was it just, how did they get that? This story is not making much sense, and I'm a true believer, guys. Come on. Just had an entire episode. We've got Howard the Alien right there. I don't know. This story isn't making much sense, but I'm sure Joe will hold him to it.
I was like, "Well,
and
shoot."
it was barbarians and murderers?
He literally, that was what he called them, yes. And mentally, that's what it was. But the
Is
emotion,
Tritium, is this a real thing?
well, that's what, I've had a lot of friends, there's analysts also that were,
I don't think Tritium is a real thing. I've never heard of that element. Tritium. Oh, maybe it's an isotope of hydrogen with 2 neutrons? So yes, Joe, it is real. Why would they need that? Why would they need that? How does this fuel their spacecraft? Oh no, it is it is something that's used in electric vehicles and stuff, I guess. So it is a radioactive particle. Interesting, interesting. Okay. Well, that's just a simple Google search. He could have looked up what's the most beneficial radioactive isotope. Okay. There we go. He's got some credibility now, guys. He's talking about a real element.
We're on the top secret network that were trying to help me understand what material.
We're throwing everything at him. We're like, is it this? Is it this? And he's
And then
like,
finally,
"No,
that's the one. When they hit tritium, I was like, that's what it was. That's what he said.
And what is tritium?
It's a type of.
Wait a minute. Didn't he just say he needed tritium? That doesn't make any sense. You just said he told you he needed tritium. Tritium.
Well, can you bring it up on the?
Yeah, sure.
Because it'll should pop up on Wikipedia pretty quick. But it has some properties that.
Yeah, I know it'll pop up on Wikipedia pretty quick. I've been looking at it for a while before this show.
Tritium. Are you saying tritium?
Yeah, tritium is that's the stuff that's in loom, like in your watch when your watch glows. That's or
Yeah.
you know they make those where they're basically radioactive isotopes that stay lit. So like if you get like a Marathon watch, Marathon makes military watches, and it doesn't need like this watch. You need the light, and the light charges the loom, and then when it's dark out, you can read the hands for like a few hours.
It's the thing that they used to put on the end of the guns, right?
Exactly, they still do.
Yeah.
Like Sig has.
And
on
look
their
at
guns.
tritium also. Put it in
Tritium
there.
is it's
I did that. No, that's not giving me much.
so tritium, chunky glow in the dark glitter. is,
These are all like these are game websites.
Oh, I see.
don't know.
Okay, so it's tritium, then I maybe
But
mispronounced it.
tritium that's that radioactive isotope.
Mhm.
That's the stuff that emits light.
Yep.
So it emits a weak form of radiation.
Yes.
A rare radioactive isotope of hydrogen with a half-life of 12.3 years.
That doesn't really sound like weak radiation, Joe. Kind of, if it's used in nuclear reactors, I don't think it's. Oh, tritium is the. No,
So
never
this is what
mind.
he's
I don't
asking
think
for.
that's the
That's
case.
tritium.
Yep. And I'm like, I don't know where. To get,
Oh, look at that. It's used in boosted fission weapons and thermonuclear weapons. Oh, great.
That sounds pretty sure.
I wonder what the fuck it's doing on your wrist. Is there anybody?
This is what the best image that we have of
Oh.
what he could have looked like.
Oh boy. Can you send that to Jamie?
Yeah, I don't know Jamie's number, but I will
Here.
find a way to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that an iPhone?
If I had my phone, I would, but it's out there, I think.
Yeah, airdrop it to Jamie. Do you know how to do that?
There's
How
that
do you
one.
not know how to do
Oh,
that?
and there's a
Your guy works
three-dimensional.
with UFOs. You better know how to do that.
Well, there's a three-dimensional image of the craft as well that is really spot on from what I saw.
Yeah, you work with UFOs and you don't know how to do that? Maybe that should give you pause, Joe. He doesn't know how to work a phone, but he knows all about UFOs. That's interesting.
That day.
Yeah.
Because not only did I see this guy running towards us and talking to him, but off the shoulder on the north side of the roadway, that's where the craft was just resting on the desert floor. And I got a really good look at it at that point. And this guy did a 3D
How do you get Joe's body type?
rendering of the description.
I just saw
and-
some. Hold on, guys. Hold on one moment. Let me go to my YouTube real quick. I gotta bring something up. Hold on. One moment, gang. So, god damn, my computer's running real slow today. So, can you please tell me? Oh no, that's the wrong song. Oops. Here it is. No, I clicked the same video again. No, please stop. Just let me click the right video. Why? Why am I being tortured like this? All right. It's the Grays. They saw my episode yesterday. I don't know how. It's members only, but they saw it. All right, guys. Let's break something down here.
And I got a really good.
What's up with Joe's body? What's this little back piece here? What's happening? What's happening here? What, Joe, this isn't normal human biology. Look at him compared to these two. Obviously, these men are prime suspects of the human form. They're prime examples. But what's going on with Joe? Why does he seem to have a turtle shell growing right here? Could this mean what I think it means, ladies and gentlemen? Does this mean that Joe Rogan could potentially be the alien-human hybrid that he has been warning us about? Look at this. Recessed legs. Why are his legs so small, but his upper half is huge? What's going on? This is horrifying. Look at this, and then there must obviously be some structure that is not native to the human body here. What's going on? Did we hit upon something important, guys? Have we found the true infiltrators to our society are not the Greys, not the Tall Whites, not the Draconians, but the Joe Rogians? What's going on here? I mean, this is not natural. It's almost, you can see a face forming right here. Look, there's the eyes, the mouth. It's been right in front of us this whole time. But we were blind. We were ignorant. Oh no. He's infiltrated all of us. How many more Joe Rogans could there be now? He's had unlimited access to the population for years and cheated on his wife multiple times. How many alien human hybrids are out there right now, guys? Look at his legs. Those aren't normal human legs. And his back. And his head. These are not normal human traits, ladies and gentlemen. I think we've come upon a truth of our Earth that it's not the aliens we need to be afraid of. Or it is the aliens, but we were afraid of the wrong kind of alien. We should have been afraid of Joe Rogan this entire time. Anyways, thank you. Back to the video.
Into him, but off the shoulder on the north side of the roadway, that's where the craft was just resting on the desert floor. And I got a really good look at it at that point. And this guy did a 3D rendering of the description, and it's like as spot on as I've ever seen. It's almost perfect.
So
it's almost perfect. He basically like followed my orders on how to make the thing. I mean, it's just insane. I don't know how he did it. Just a 3D rendered. He rendered it in 3D for me. I can't believe it, though. I truly can't believe it, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Rogan could very well be the alien invader we all should be fearing. It's not the Greys, it's not the Tall Whites, it's not even the Draconians. It's the Roganites.
Asks you for tritium, you tell him dreams this.
Think about all the comedians he has access to, ladies and gentlemen. What if he's done whatever experiment that was done to him to the comedians? We need to start looking for signs that he has infected the wider population. The U.S. government, Donald Trump's focused on the wrong illegal aliens right now, my friend. He needs to be focusing on these types of aliens, not the aliens that look different. Of course. It all makes sense now.
This is what it looked like.
This is what the guy looked like. Pretty close to it.
Yep.
Bro. Bro, no fucking way. No fucking way. What is this AI garbage?
Yo.
The nose was a little bit rounder on the end, but that was a really good rendition. Yeah, his eyes almost.
Yeah, shout out to AI. We really appreciate it. Oh, man. We've gone far, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man.
Here on the temple.
Wow. And that would freak me out.
it freaked me out. I mean, honestly, I'm not an easy guy to get to get freaked out, but that really put that like you
Yeah, he is a big tough guy. Remember that, guys.
you just saw an alligator pop up out of the water kind of thing.
Right. So when you tell him go to Dreamland, it says I'm not going to go where those murderers and barbarians are, and then what happens?
And he said no. So I was like, well, where else can I possibly point him to? 'Cause I'm like, I don't know any metallurgists or whatever. So I'm thinking to myself, and I relate to him. I said, well, I'm taking college classes down in in the city of Vegas, Las Vegas, at the community college, but I have a geophysical professor that I'm taking a class from. Maybe he has a metallurgist friend, and he's like,
So you're thinking at this time though it's a metal,
I am, yes.
right? Because you're thinking it's some kind of like titanium, some type of.
Right. And there's also when
This is the 3D image with the craft.
that is almost as spot on as I've ever seen. That is about it right there. That's almost exactly what I saw.
Really? Really? That's what the craft looked like? Looks like my fucking cousin just decided to put some shit together in Blender.
Resting on the desert floor.
And so you're trying to find different people you can connect this being to.
Yeah.
And what is it saying to you while you're?
He thought that was a good idea, I think, or he was like, and he had that kind of, and he wanted to take action, so he doesn't really even say goodbye. He just kind of turns and off he goes back to his craft. And I'm thinking, well, okay. And I get back in the car, and sometime during that conversation with this entity, I remember looking over at my friends in the car, and they had the weirdest look on their face, like they were all zonked out, totally zombied, like they couldn't even.
He made them fall asleep. No. Sounds like they were getting stoned off of base and needed a good excuse.
They were just drooling on themselves.
Were they just because they were flabbergasted, or was it because something was going on?
Well, I figured out that maybe it was done by this entity because none of them seemed to even remember the incident. Only a few people seem to remember that we stopped, that we had talked to somebody on the roadway, but it was mainly the people that were in the back of the convoy.
So they didn't see it.
Yeah, for some reason, I mean, everybody else just kind of forgot about this, but I didn't.
Up close, like you
Right,
did.
like we did. The
So
people
how far
right
away would they be?
they'd probably be a good 2 car lengths behind us.
That's still enough to detect whether or not someone looks blue, though, right?
Correct, and that's probably what they saw. But you know me, I'm kind of wide and I'm big. I was very muscular back then.
And you're standing in front of this thing.
So they have a difficult time because this guy stood about a good half foot short
You're still very muscular. What are you talking about? Perfect specimen of a human.
than me. And so they probably could see his arms from time to time, maybe catch a glimpse of his face or something. So they probably didn't get a very good view because if you're looking at me, I'm standing right next to my door, and they're behind me, kind of almost obfuscated by just the angle that they're looking at him. So all the windows are tinted in those vehicles.
Wow. Enlightening. Very enlightening. Wow. I'm at a loss for words, Can't refute that. Oh, inside the government's 80-year cover-up. Oh, that's so good. Let's see what else we have to cover before we head out. Let's see. The 5 on Iran negotiations. Pete Buttigieg speaks at National Action Network Convention. I've seen a lot of people are actually... There's a lot of prominent speakers speaking at that. We might watch some highlights tomorrow from it. Oh, there is a video I wanted to bring up that Kayla sent me that I thought was a really good video. So let's watch it together. By the way, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe if you guys aren't already. It does really help out the channel and gets me boosted out there in the algorithm. I know. These morning streams are very sparse with people, but over time, it will bear fruit. All right, where is it? Oh yeah, by the way, shout out to the Nazis that like me now. That like to meme. They're sending me phishing emails thinking I'll click on those. They're pretty stupid. Like, dude, I'm obviously not going to click on some random fucking video or some random link someone sends me. They must think they're dealing with a real snoozer. I'm no snoozer. All right, we'll watch this video and then we'll head out probably.
On Monday, the Trump administration quietly...
I've never watched Courier, but they seem interesting enough.
announced another move it has made to roll back civil rights protections for trans people.
Okay, why are we're lagging pretty heavily. Might have to close down Minecraft. That's okay. I like just showing you guys what I have done so far, and then I do all the grinding off stream, just because I think that's more fun. That's why I think here soon, I do want to create like a Minecraft server for all of my fellow liberals to play on.
This time, they're attacking trans students at schools and universities across the country. Yet again, we're seeing another unprecedented legal move. This time, the Trump administration is attempting to turn over and rescind civil rights agreements and settlements that were made years in the past. These moves are in connection with Title IX, which was put in place to protect women and girls' right to receive an education. But now, the Trump administration is weaponizing Title IX against trans students. And overall,
Here, one sec. Let me exit out of Minecraft real quick, just so it's not as laggy. Someday we will have a good computer. And this alien will be dancing 10 times faster.
it weakens the system, endangering all women and girls. And overall, this works to weaken the Title IX system, putting all women and girls at risk. This targets trans students, but it also has greater consequences for women and girls. And allowing the Trump administration to do these things ultimately puts everybody's civil rights at risk. So on Monday, April 6th, the U.S. Department of Education released this press release saying they rescinded illegal Title IX resolution agreements. Now, specifically, they are taking issue with Title IX agreements that are based on gender identity versus sex. So in previous years, there have been Title IX legal processes to protect trans and non-binary students on the basis of the gender they identify with. Via executive order, the Trump administration has attempted to revert these Title IX protections for trans students, instead returning to the idea of sex assigned at birth as the only thing protected by Title IX. The Trump administration is claiming that these are unnecessary and unlawful burdens that prior administrations imposed on schools in pursuit of a, quote, radical transgender agenda. The Trump administration is claiming that it's investigating allegations of girls and women being injured by men on their sports teams or feeling violated by men in their intimate spaces, as opposed to launching Title IX investigations based on misgendering. What they really mean, of course, is that they're trying to make it so that trans students cannot access sports teams, bathrooms, and locker rooms that align with their gender identity. And they're framing this as a way to protect women and girls, when the reality is they are cracking down on Title IX altogether, which I'll get to in just a second. Specifically, the Office of Civil Rights is rescinding portions of 6 resolution agreements that were reached in previous years. These are resolutions reached with these 6 school districts. They include places in California, in the South, in Delaware, and Taft College. Now, the New York Times is reporting that the Trump administration has terminated these settlements, which were aimed at ensuring trans students' rights to equal opportunity to an education, forcing school officials to choose whether to comply with the federal government's interpretation of these laws or to abide by, in some cases, conflicting state statutes. And they have a quote here from a former supervising lawyer at the Office for Civil Rights who now runs her own practice, saying, to go back and terminate agreements and say all of the policies and procedures should be reversed as if nothing ever happened, that is very different and a very big deal, a very unprecedented move from the Trump administration. Now, zooming in on what was happening at these specific schools and the settlements and policies that the Trump administration is now working to overturn, one of the schools they highlighted is Taft College, which is a 2-year community college north of Los Angeles. The New York Times reported that Taft College required training for faculty and staff members about abiding by students' preferred name and pronouns and how refusing could create a hostile academic environment under civil rights law. With regards to the La Mesa Spring Valley School District outside San Diego, there were complaints of harassment of a non-binary student. So broadly speaking, these were cases where trans and non-binary students were harassed and denied equal opportunity by their teachers or peers in academic settings. These are the types of incidents that Title IX is designed to protect marginalized students from on the basis of gender. These are all cases that happened in the past that were investigated by federal offices and where settlements were already reached and new policies were implemented. The Trump administration is dedicating an enormous amount of time, energy, and resources to undoing these things that already happened. And it's not because the students lied or because no harm occurred or because the federal offices were wrong. It's because the Trump administration is trying to erode protections for trans and non-binary students so that those protections in theory only exist for cis women and girls. The reality of this, however, as again, we'll get into this more in just a second, this also erodes protections for cis women and girls. The Trump administration is not doing this because they have the best interest for cis women and girls at heart. They're doing it because they oppose Title IX in principle. They don't want there to be civil rights laws protecting marginalized students. They don't even want women and girls to receive an equal education at all, as outlined in documents like Project 2025. And when it comes to one of these school districts that the Trump administration rescinded an agreement with, well, this doesn't even necessarily have anything to do with a trans student. One of the school districts is called Cape Henlopen. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And this is a school district in Delaware. So you have this local reporter for the Delaware News Journal writing that it is unclear which resolution the Department of Education is referring to, because the most recent resolution agreement between the Department of Education and the school district is from a July 2024 complaint of alleged harassment and assault of a student with a disability on a school bus. So this agreement that they're potentially working to rescind doesn't even have anything to do with gender identity. This was about a disabled student who was targeted by adult aides on a school bus and repeatedly harassed and even physically assaulted. This doesn't surprise me because disability rights and trans rights have a lot of overlap, and there's a lot of systemic stigma and discrimination toward people from both marginalized groups. There's also a lot of overlap between these marginalized groups. And again, this contributes to the idea that the Trump administration is really about weakening protections for marginalized people so that they can reinforce a hierarchy that rewards people who are cisgender, who are able-bodied, who are white men and boys. And when it comes to Title IX specifically, Trump and his administrations have a long history of weakening these protections for women and girls. Last year, for my newsletter, SpitfireNews.com, I interviewed a sociologist who has researched Title IX in practice under the Trump administration. Her name is Nicole Badera, and she wrote a book called On the Wrong Side: How Universities Protect Perpetrators and Betray Survivors of Sexual Violence. One of the functions of Title IX law is that it creates a pathway for students to report sexual violence on campus. And the reason for this is because experiencing sexual sexual violence can impact a student's ability to freely and fairly access an education. Women and girls on campus are more likely to be victimized, and for that victimization to affect their ability to receive a degree and access the same educational opportunities as their male peers. Even in his first term as president, Donald Trump and his administration weakened these specific Title IX protections for all students, but it particularly disadvantages women and girls. Back in 2020, Trump's new Title IX regulations made it harder for victims of sexual violence to report. It allowed perpetrators to cross-examine their victims, and it rolled back rights again for transgender students to use the bathrooms and locker rooms of their choice. So I asked Nicole Badera, what might Title IX look like in the near future? And she said, you know, I've been asked this question a lot recently, and I think I have a slightly different answer than people expect because I see Title IX as Trump's canary in the coal mine. And in a lot of ways, the Trump administration completed most of their agenda on Title IX in his first term. And what we're seeing now is an expansion of his Title IX approach to broader society. So things like banning DEI and suppression of free speech, that's the kind of thing I was seeing in Title IX in 2018 before he had even passed his regulation. When I was writing my book, the draft had come out, but the regulation itself hadn't been put into place yet. And so a lot of what they were seeing was universities complying in advance and dreaming up their own things they wanted to do that went above and beyond anything the Trump administration had ever mandated. She said, that's the main thing I'm thinking about right now is the Trump administration, as far as any of us know, they're not planning a revision of their Title IX regulation from 2020. They're not planning to change how schools should administer it, but they're returning back to the way things were before. And a few hallmarks of that approach is there's no oversight. There's nobody at the Department of Education who is answering the phone if a survivor is trying to file a complaint about how they were treated by their universities, which used to be a really key function at the Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights, was that our schools never really implemented their Title IX policy, and the Department of Education was the one place where people could complain about that. So that has been gone under Trump in both of his terms, and we're returning to that. And then she said, the other thing that we're starting to see, and that I'm very concerned about, is that the Trump administration is now weaponizing Title IX. The clearest example is stripping the University of Maine of their federal funding for allowing trans athletes to participate on women's athletics teams, which again is something that they threatened to do during his first term too. They didn't succeed then, but they did threaten it. It's weird because they're dismantling the Department of Education to make Title IX weaker, but they're also using it in an extremely selective way as a form of punishment for people who care about gender equality, for women, for transgender and non-binary people, and really for anybody who's gender marginalized. And this is a really, really key thing to understand because the anti-trans movement pits trans rights against the rights of women and girls, even though these are intersectional issues that influence and affect each other. If you weaken rights for trans women and girls, you also weaken rights for cis women and girls. The same thing goes for trans men as well as non-binary students. These are interconnected issues, and the Trump administration and the architects of Project 2025 know and understand this all too well. They know that they can fearmonger about trans people and use propaganda to position trans people as a threat to cis people. But the reality is they are against cis women and girls as well. We have seen that repeatedly with Donald Trump on a personal level and via his administration. They are not interested in upholding rights or protections for cis women and girls. They want to undermine those rights by pretending it is just about attacking trans people. And in the process, they actually are terrorizing and attacking trans people in moves that constitute the early stages of a genocide. An example of this is returning to that logic that the Trump administration used in its executive order, claiming that cis women and girls are unsafe when trans women are allowed in their locker rooms, in their bathrooms, and in other private spaces. But the reality is, transgender people are over 4 times more likely than cisgender people to be victims of violent crime, including sexual violence. And the other reality that the Trump administration doesn't want to talk about is that it is cis men overwhelmingly who perpetrate these crimes against trans people as well as women and girls. Cis men present more of a danger, and it's not so much to do with locker rooms and bathrooms, but rather most victims of sexual violence already know and trust their perpetrator. Sexual violence oftentimes occurs in the victim's own home, oftentimes in their own bedroom, because again, the way that perpetrators gain access to their victims is through establishing trusted relationships. Oftentimes perpetrators are your own family members, they are close friends, they are intimate partners, and they are people with positions of authority. And no one illustrates that better than Donald Trump himself, because if you want to know who the danger is to women and girls in changing rooms, consider the fact that Donald Trump was accused of barging into changing rooms where underage girls were in a state of undress back when he owned and orchestrated pageants. So no, trans women and trans people in general are not a threat to women and girls. It is cis men like Donald Trump who present the greatest threat and danger to women and girls. And these attempts to undo previous Title IX resolutions are not in the interest of safety or fairness or protecting women and girls. This is all part of a much larger plot to undo rights for trans people, to violate trans people, to discriminate against trans people, and to do it under the pretense that you're making women and girls safer, all while it is part of this larger playbook to dismantle rights for all marginalized groups. It's at the expense of women and girls, to the benefit of cis men and boys, who again pose that greater threat and danger. So no, the Trump administration is not doing this to protect marginalized people. This is yet another step in a long playbook to undo civil rights, discriminate against vulnerable people, and entrench the status quo that keeps men like Donald Trump at the top.
Amen. Speak your truth, sister. That's what I say. Yeah, it's no shock that the Trump administration is trying to limit Title IX. It's no shock to any of us. It was outlined in Project 2025, but it's just another thing we need to be cognizant of and we need to make sure to oppose. Anyways, guys, I think that's about it. I don't think I have anything else to really go over. So, with that being said, let me bring up the outro video and we'll get out of here. I, of course, will be live yet again at 6 p.m. CST. You guys already know. I am locked in. The grind never stops, as the kids say. The grind truly never stops. One moment, gang. I have to open up my file folder. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to catch me at 6 p.m. those streams are a lot more, they have a lot more viewability and stuff. I'm trying to think of ways I can incentivize people to come to these streams, but it really is just me gaming and going over the news. So I think it'll take a little longer, but I got a good feeling. I got a good feeling. Oh, hold on. But anyways, one moment. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys at 6.
We're told we're not taking sides. I'm here to take sides. Mladic is a war criminal, the leader of the Bosnian Serbs. He is no better than Himmler. He is no better than Goebbels. He is a war criminal.
I was suggesting we bomb Belgrade.
What's so important about the Western Alliance? NATO for NATO's sake, so we can beat our press? What I'm about to say is going to cause me great difficulty if I'm reelected and come back here as the ranking member or chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee. There is no moral center in Europe.
I was suggesting that we send American pilots in and blow up all the bridges on the Drina.
When in the last 2 centuries have the French, or the British, or the Germans, the Belgians, the Italians?
I was suggesting we take out his oil supply.
Moved in a way to unify that continent, to stand up to this kind of genocide. When have they done this?
I was suggesting very specific action.
The only reason anything is happening now is because the United States of America finally is understanding her role. The 21st century is going to be the American century. Because we never bow, we never bend, we never break. We are America, second to none, and we own the finish line.